Hey gamer.
Isn't there better things to strive for in life than being annoying? How can a study show that there's nothing they're lying about?
But there is no way that he would debate someone like me. People like him are just afraid of getting destroyed.
You don't want to say you're a male, do you?
Why do I have boobies?
See, the right like to play word games too, so hey.
I love you, Mary.
Why are they so hyper feminine?
A lot of trans people will overcompensate in the direction of their gender identity because they want to pass. Especially if you are earlier in transition, overcorrecting in the direction of femininity is one way to get more consistently.
What the does that mean? I just can't. I want to see if this person's up to anything. Seems like it's been a while. It seems like it's been a decent while. Debate sis. And her artwork is just stolen off of Outer Wilds, which, how dare you, that's a great game. You shouldn't be ruining that. Hasn't posted in a while. What's going on? What's going on, Naomi? What's going on? This was utterly cringe, by the way. This, like, Sharon Davies she was doing. Like, trying to fight with Sharon Davies and, like, doing all the debate bro shit. Chat with Walsh. Like, literally, trans version of Walsh. But uglier, somehow. I don't know what Walsh would look like as a woman. And then the top view debate is with Andrew Wilson. I saw a bit of this, and he destroyed her. Because of course he did. Like, what do you think's gonna happen? Milking mommy Naomi. Like, Jesus. I haven't seen her around in a while. I saw the... What was it? The other one. Trans girl destroys conservatives with facts and logic. What is a chair? Original documentary.
Being a chair sitter is one of the great privileges of my life. Now, I've heard people say that there are no differences between chairs and horses. Those people are idiots. I'm a transgender. I'm a polyamorous lover. I make educational content. I do debates. I publish research papers. Lover.
Yikes.
I make educational content. I do debates. I publish research papers. I like to make sense of things, but making sense of chairs is a whole other matter. Even Vsauce, who could explain science to millions, was completely dumbfounded by chairs.
Do chairs exist?
And now, our culture's telling us that the differences between chairs and horses don't matter. That if you have 4 legs and a back, then you are a chair. How do we help our kids make sense of this when they're bombarded with conflicting messages about chairs? Forget trying to figure out chairs. The real question is, what is a chair?
Wow. Trans girl, yeah, I know, right? And they're always polyamorous. They always have those things hanging up on the wall, the flags and stuff. Not that we're in a cult or anything. Not that we're all basically the same person, fucking microwaved and reheated and thrown straight back out there again. Like, I don't know, man. When I transitioned, I didn't do so with the expectation that I was joining a cult and that my entire personality was going to change and that I'd be an adult calling myself a girl. I'm not a girl. I'm not a woman either, but like, no. Debate sis. Like, gross. A debate so vile I had to end it, aka you got destroyed by Andrew Wilson. Because of course you did. Were you going to do anything else than get destroyed by Andrew Wilson? Let's be real. Matt Walsh loves lying to college students. Oh, this video is short. We'll just do one. We'll do one more. We'll do some weird after hours nominal Naomi deep dive. She hasn't posted in a while. Hopefully that's because this shit isn't working anymore. Fingers crossed. The link tree, we've got at least 2 different porn sites. Am I a doll? Maybe.
That you can actually become, in some ways, the opposite gender or sex, whatever words you want to use, which is a lie. It's not true.
Wait, it's not true that medical transition changes your biology to be more in line?
This is gonna be stupid as f, isn't it? Hang on, let me just show nominal name Naomi.
That you can actually become, in some ways, the opposite gender or sex, whatever words you want to use,
Yeah, you can't change your sex. That's just obvious.
which is a lie. It's not true.
Wait, it's not true that medical transition changes your biology to be more in line with the sex you transition to?
Yeah, that's not the same thing. There's not the same thing as changing your sex outright. Holy shit. And it just looks like hope coming from you.
Why do trans women have boobies? That is a biological character.
Oh my god. There's a part of me that thinks that this person is not trans whatsoever, and everything about them is just rage bait. But like, if that's your fucking whole thing, is just being like rage bait personified, like why? Isn't there better things to strive for in life than being annoying?
Characteristic that is female. If you cannot transition your sex at all,
Yeah, what's gynecomastia then?
why do I have boobies? So here we have
Why do I have boobies?
Matt Walsh talking to a trans student at a college campus speech, and we'll see how.
Like, how are we going to pretend that any of these people that challenge Matt Walsh aren't dumb as seriously? They all suck.
Matt Walsh is going to dunk on this trans person.
Well, there's one other clip I wanted to play from last night before we move on, and I wish I could play the whole exchange, but it's too long. I have kind of a longer clip that I'm going to play.
Yeah, we know that Matt Walsh doesn't like showing things that are too long because it doesn't make him look good. His What is a Woman documentary, he didn't want to show the full answer that the sociology professor gave when, asked to describe what's the difference between sex and gender. Matt Walsh really just
How is that the reason? Because it wouldn't make him look good. Could we back that up with anything?
skipped over it. Matt Walsh is not interested in like full context. He's just interested in showing
Oh no, you're just going to make things up about him because it's Matt Walsh, so you can just make up what you want about him. How nice. How nice.
his little donkey clips and being done with it.
Still, but you can find the whole clip on my
This is just blind, empty cynicism dressed up as facts and logic is what this is.
Twitter page. It's during the Q&A, a person who identifies as trans, who's going through transition right now, did come up to speak in the Q&A, and doesn't happen very often. This is pretty rare. I mean, I do these Q&As, and anyone can come speak, and I'm always encouraging people who don't agree with me to come.
Also, I do apologize. The volume on this video is like almost nothing, and she's like the same volume as me. It's just going to be a pain in the ass. I'm sorry about it.
Speak, and very rarely do they take me up on it. They'd rather go stay outside where they have their numbers and they can shout into megaphones and hold their signs and all of that.
That'd be really interesting if Matt put his money where his mouth is and like actually debated someone who does debates like on the left. But you will never see Matt Walsh like actually debate somebody who
Does debates, but on the left. People showed up to debate him. He's spoken to Alec Gunter. He's spoken to Shark 300. Do those people not do debates? And I'm sure some of the other people less well known who have also chatted to Matt Walsh at his events. Like, what are you talking about? Do you not know what's been going on?
who is, knowledgeable about these topics and like wants to debate in like a formal setting. I would totally debate Matt Walsh, but there is no way that he would debate someone like me. People like him are just afraid of getting destroyed. They know that they're lying. They know they're trying to spread hateful ideology, and they know what happens when they debate people that are knowledgeable on these topics. They lose hard, and so he's scared.
This was someone who actually came and spoke and stood up there, and I appreciate that. It takes courage. It takes guts to do that. From his perspective, this is like walking into the lion's den. This is behind enemy's territory. We're not his enemies, but that's how he would see it, and so it takes guts to do.
Of course, Matt is misgendering this trans person. We're not enemy lions. I'm just gonna.
Who cares about misgendering? He sees it differently. He sees it as like sex, and that's your lot. So yeah, of course he's gonna misgender. Why do we need to make this point? It's a waste of time. I'm sorry, I just wanted reasonably healthcare. I didn't want state subsidized, medically induced titty milk for your only yeah, Jesus Christ.
Misgender you throughout this entire video.
This was an important conversation. I wanted to.
Like, who cares? Like, misgendering. Like, Jesus Christ. I know this is 2 years old. Wow, what? November 8th, 2022. A bit over 2 years old. But like, this is, oh my God. Please, can we leave this shit in the past? Apart from me, because I want to mock the shit out of it for how dumb it all is. Please, otherwise, let's leave this in the past. Let's just stop doing any of this shit. We don't need a trans version of Walsh.
Share a piece of it with you. Here it is.
8 months ago, I was diagnosed with gender dysphoria while I was inpatient here in UW-Madison. I looked into the research and talked to doctors, and through my journey, I decided to explore medically transitioning, because it's shown to decrease suicidal ideation and stuff like that.
This is a very hostile type environment for them to be in, and it is so hard to come off looking good when they control the microphone. They can cut you off whenever they want to, and they have an audience that is immediately hostile to you and your beliefs. These are not the type of settings that are fair by any means. And so specific.
Does that matter? Why is that important here exactly? Are you trying to head it off that maybe this person didn't do well? I'm not sure. We haven't even started yet, and you're already making excuses for this person. Can't they just speak? Can't we just hear what they're saying?
Particularly like, what Matt Walsh, Midge Peer, and these types do is they only debate in these settings where they can debate college kids who, on average are going to be
She's on the line. Hang on. She doesn't get to say this, at least not anymore. Maybe she didn't realize back in 2022 she's going to be on the fucking line. But she's been on the line. They do the same shit, just in the other direction. I'm sorry. I realize this isn't technically hypocrisy. But look at this shit. We've seen the line before. You know what I'm talking about, hopefully. They do the same shit. They have two people on one. They mute people. One of them starts rambling off on some shit, asking about 12 questions with no chance for the other person to answer. And then the other person starts rambling off on some shit. And then if all else fails, just get Matt Dillahunty to fucking soy out at them. You know what I mean? Jesus Christ.
be not very knowledgeable on these topics, and that it's much easier to, engage in dishonest tactics. They don't debate people in
Okay, and we got mindless cynicism again. Matt Walsh bad. Has to be for bad reasons that I've came up with that potentially have nothing to do with any of these people's thought processes.
like formal settings or like fair settings because they know they would lose.
And since then, although I've had to deal with other issues such as transphobia and sex
Why would they lose? Are you going to show how they would lose exactly? Because all I've heard so far is you whining about misgendering, and I can't remember something else. I guess we'll see.
sexual assault, I've been more happier overall than I
If they would lose, she'll be able to show this, right? There'll be somewhere in this 11-minute video her showing, like, how he'd lose. Because she's, like, at home, can do what the fuck she wants, isn't getting muted by anyone, can pause it, can say what she wants, can bring up anything.
ever was before. And my question to you is, what specifically about medically transitioning do you think is so immoral that we should ignore the potential benefits? And why
It's a very emotionally loaded question, by the way. Is this the best way to get to Matt Walsh? Is by loading on the fucking emotion? I don't think it is, personally. I think it's a good tactic in any debate. I think you should try and put your feelings to one side, and if you can't, consider whether you should be here in the first place.
why should I listen to you as somebody who's not a medical professional and has not experienced gender dysphoria?
There's a dishonesty behind it. Dishonesty in the false promises that they make.
False promises? How are people being lied to?
You can attain this image of
They're being told they can be the other sex when they can't.
maleness or femaleness.
That's what medical transition literally does. It literally alters your biology. You can absolutely attain that.
Can attain what?
That's what medical transition literally does.
Not experienced gender dysphoria.
I love you, Mary.
Trilk will be a staple of fully automated luxury queer communism.
Oh, thank you so much, Mama D. Thank you for the $20. Thank you.
There's a dishonesty behind it. Dishonesty in the false promises that they make.
False promises? How are people being lied to?
You can attain this image of maleness or femaleness.
You can attain an image of maleness or femaleness.
That's what medical transition.
This is a pause, Andy. Like, yeah, you can attain an image. That is true. So I guess technically she's right here. Because you're pause Andying him. Amazing. Amazing.
Transition literally does. It literally alters your biology. You can absolutely attain that. Like, people have realistic expectations about what they can and can't change going into gender transition, going into medical treatment. That's why, through these informed consent procedures, you are made aware of all of the effects and side effects, etc., of gender transition. Like,
Are you? All of them? Does every clinic do this? Is this true? How would you know? You're just one person who's transitioned in one place.
what you can change. You have realistic expectations going into this.
That you can actually become.
Yeah, but people often don't. Isn't that the point? And how many people do we see that transition when they have clear things wrong with them? When perhaps their perception of reality is not all there, and yet they're being transitioned anyway. Like, it's, Jesus Christ.
You can't change going into gender transition, going into medical treatment. That's why, through these informed consent procedures, you are made aware of all of the effects and side effects, etc., of gender transition. Like, what you can change. You have realistic expectations going into this.
That is absolutely not true. It is for some people, sure. It depends how the care is administered. It depends how well a person is informed. And when we're applying this to children, which we do, and I'm sure this person is fine with kids transitioning, it becomes even more dicey and more confusing, because how well is a kid going to understand the permanence of what they're potentially putting themselves onto?
But that you can actually become, in some ways, the opposite gender or sex, whatever words you want to use.
That is just factually true.
No, it's not.
You can take cross-sex hormones to alter your biology to be more in line with the sex you transition to. You can socially transition to alter, the societal role in which you're perceived and treated, to alter your lived social experience. Both of these things
Your lived social experience. I'm sorry, just being called a woman by some people isn't the same as having a female lived experience.
can be changed. That's just factual.
Which is a lie. It's not true.
This person actually sucks at this. What are you doing? Why did you make this channel and start talking this utter shite? Like, fucking hell. Like...
Wait, it's not true that medical transition changes your biology to be more in line with the sex you transition?
That's not what he said. He said he's talking about becoming the other sex or gender. You can't do that. You're just changing the question to be, you're saying you can't change your biology. No, that's not what you said, bro. That's not what you said. You're just changing the question and then answering that question. Like, if you have an exam paper and you decide to cross out the questions, write your own questions in, and then answer them correctly, you still don't pass because those aren't the questions you were asked. It's not hard. Holy shit, how do people fall for this? How are people so stupid that they fucking watched this and thought, yeah, this is good. This is what we need more of.
Too? Why do trans women have boobies?
People encourage this fucking freak.
That is a biological characteristic that is female, that is true about trans women and cis women. If you cannot transition your
Because he took hormones. Why do plenty of males have boobies?
sex at all, why do I have boobies?
You never can. And
I have a horrible Adam's apple. My voice sounds like this. I still love myself. And there has always been money in making people happy. Like wearing nice clothes or good food. It does cost a lot of money. That's why I can't get surgeries that would make me a lot happier.
How do you know? What is this way of thinking? That you need these surgeries to be happy? Is there nothing else you should be talking to people about? You know what I mean? Like, I just don't think this is good. And I think this person probably is deeply unhappy and can't do much about it. I don't see how surgery is going to help this person. I'm sorry.
But the point of medicine is not supposed to be to make you happy in the moment. That's not the objective of medicine. The objective of medicine is your overall wellness. It's about treating what is actually wrong.
Then it's a good thing that we have study after study after study after systematic literature review, which shows that gender transition improves the mental health and overall well-being of
Study after study, lot of use of testimonial evidence, which is very prone to bias, is very prone to being affected by bias, should I say. Hearing a trans gal say boobies makes you shiver, as it should. Jesus Christ. I hope I never say the word boobies outside of quoting this person ever, because disgusting. I'm 34 years old. I should speak like an adult, in my opinion. Now, what was I saying? Yeah, the studies. I mean, we just find these studies that agree with what we say and we just slap them down. Like, let's not worry. What's Naomi's response to the study showing that suicide rates go up to penile inversion? She'll pick anything that she doesn't like about it and use that to completely discredit the study. That's how these people operate. But yeah, I mean, these studies, they're all based on, like, a lot of them don't have much, they don't have much follow-up. We're basing it on people telling us how suicidal they are before and after. We're not worried so much about the idea of, like, they could be saying it because that's what probably is going to, in their mind, further their treatment. Because if they don't exaggerate enough the difference between before and after, they might not get their treatment anymore. If they're saying that, oh, I don't really feel any different, I don't really feel any better, are they not worried that maybe their treatment won't get continued? I mean, a lot of these studies are just based on people that have gone through the system. Oh, thank you so much, Kid Smiley. I appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of reasons. You shouldn't just trust all the studies and say, oh, well, it must be fine then, because there's a whole bunch of problems with them. But unfortunately, you get someone like this to read the cast review, because it says the thing that they don't like. They'll just find ways of discrediting it.
trans people in the long term. That's simply what the peer-reviewed literature shows. Matt is just arguing.
Peer-reviewed? What? So someone else from WPATH fucking signed off on someone else from WPATH's fucking dodgy study? Why is it that Joanna Olson Kennedy sat on a fucking study about puberty blockers?
Against empirical data. He is arguing.
I'll be honest, I know next to nothing, should I say, about Matt Walsh's, like, non-trans stuff. He's like a Christian nationalist. I doubt we have almost anything in common. I'm not one of those kinds, you know?
Against scientific consensus. Like, people need to see sources on this. I've got at least 3 systematic literature reviews linked in my research doc, which show that, yeah, gender transition does improve the mental health of trans people. These are
You've got some studies that suggest that because what? Suicidality goes down. What does suicidality even mean? We use that word a hell of a lot around like trans shit, and suicidality doesn't really mean someone who's literally about to commit suicide. It's really not that. It's really not that deep. But yeah, I don't know. Read a few studies that say what you want. Oh, it's proven. Here we go. It's proven. It's not proven. You've got evidence for and you've got evidence against at best.
From broad collections of peer-reviewed study, this is the overwhelming trend in the academic literature. Matt's just wrong about that.
That's medicine. And so if you are struggling to accept
Well, sure, if we study ourselves and find nothing wrong, there must be nothing wrong, right?
who you were born as, what your actual biological identity is, I have all the compassion in the world for that. I mean, I can't imagine having that disconnect in my head.
I think that trans people are aware of their biological reality. We have to...
Fuck off. No, they're not. No, they're not. How many people need to fucking very clearly state they believe they are a woman? They believe they might be a woman born in a male body. All different kinds of shit. People believe all kinds of insane shit about this thing. And then these idiots are just running around saying, no, I think they know what biology is. Do they? Do they? By what measure?
acknowledge that, biologically, we start out as the sex we're born as in order to
You don't want to say you're a male, do you? You're a male and you're a man. It is what it is.
medically transition into another sex or to change your sex characteristics. Like, you have to acknowledge the sex characteristics you were born with to even...
Usually transsexuals claim self-delineation is due to the fact that society is too transphobic. Yep, when in fact it's for all different kinds of reasons. And then detransition numbers are extremely unreliable, and we don't count people who kill themselves, despite the fact that, yeah, you're going to have people that killed themselves because they realized it didn't make them happy anymore. They can't face going back to their old life, or it's completely impossible to. Oh, thank you for following, Cassiopeia Stan. Hope you're good.
even desire to change them. Trans people are absolutely aware and acknowledge, their biological reality, but
That is not true. You're just lying.
People like Matt Walsh do not acknowledge the biological reality that hormones absolutely do change many aspects of your biological...
It's not... He hasn't said anything of that nature. You've just changed the way he says. This isn't debate. This is you being a fuckwit.
sex. Matt is the one who is disregarding reality here.
A source of immense despair. But what I hate is the medical professionals who, instead of helping you with that, and instead of helping you to accept who you really are and find joy and fulfillment in it, they're trying to make a quick buck. And they're selling you false promises. And they're telling you this stuff is based on long-term studies. And they're lying to you because it's not.
Biggest problems with studies, Naomi states, specifies suicidal ideation, not actual suicide. Yeah. Suicidal ideation. It's like suicidality. It really does not mean anywhere near the same thing. Like, being suicidal means you might think about it occasionally. 100% self-reported. Yeah, testimonial. Trans people say they're less suicidal. Yeah, exactly. Because they want their treatment to continue. Because, there's going to be some that get the placebo effect, of course. And then they're going to say, what am I saying here? They're going to, exaggerate how good it is because they want to continue their treatment. And the data that they're getting is, just from the clinics. It's not like a separate thing, as far as I know. Self-deletion is still 40 times higher than the general population. Yep. Do you seriously think that Veronica Ivy and Abigail Thorne acknowledge their biological reality? Veronica Ivy almost certainly fucking not. Jesus Christ, that person is nuts. And I wonder how many people have watched her and be like, oh, I can be a trans athlete in with the women like her. Disgusting. Gross.
There have never been any reliable long-term studies on almost all of this stuff because the fact is the medical industry only started doing this at such a large scale recently.
So Matt first made the claim that we don't have any long-term studies on trans people or gender transition. So let's just go to the research doc and dunk on that. Here's a study on...
Dunk on that, Jesus. Please let this shit die, man. Please. Let's just leave this shit to people like me who will do retrospectives on this trans debate bro shit purely just to show people how utterly dumb this shit got. Please, I beg you all, stop doing things like this. This is the absolute worst thing you can do.
the mortality of trans people. This study followed people for a median of 18.5 years. That's pretty long term. I have another longitudinal study on the well-being of doc and dunk on that. Here's a study on the mortality of trans people. This study followed people for a median of 18.5 years. That's pretty long term. I have another longitudinal...
Okay, not actually showing anything about the study. Yeah, maybe he said something that was a bit exaggeratory. There's no long-term things. Maybe there are some. Is there that much? I mean, I don't know. I don't know, man.
longitudinal study on the well-being of trans people. This studied both
Like, how many people were in any of these studies? Like, what's the point in having saying, oh, well, there is longitudinal studies when the sum total of people that have had those studies done on them, it's like about 300 people or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, what are the numbers? Like, why aren't you showing any of this? It's so lazy.
qualitative and quantitative outcomes. So, we have both subjective and objective data on this one. Pretty cool. Study period 10 to 24 years. That's pretty long term. I have another longitudinal study on the well-being of trans people. This studied both qualitative and quantitative outcomes. So, we have both subjective and objective data on this one. Pretty cool. Study period.
Oh, I had it sped up. I'm so sorry. It was much faster than it should have been.
Qualitative and quantitative outcomes. So, we have of 18.5 years. That's pretty long term. I have another longitudinal study on the well-being of trans people. This studied both qualitative and quantitative outcomes. So, we have both subjective and objective data on this one. Pretty
Completely meaningless when you're not showing us any of this.
cool. Study period 10 to 24 years. I mean, 2.5 decades is very long when it comes to research.
Yeah, how many people? Like, you're not showing anything. Like, what is this? I doubt Naomi has read the study. It's just notes in the doc he got from Walsh. I can't tell. We're not showing anything, so like, hey, I don't know.
I mean, if you're a researcher, you don't get to publish your study findings until 20.
I think the most disturbing slow burn video from a TRA I've seen has been the trans egg prime directive. Was that by someone called Trash Discourse? I really tried to watch her a couple of times and I just could not. Like, this person, like, I don't even know where I'd begin. I don't know if it's that whole Lily Alexander genre of whatever the fuck, but I just could not. I could not listen to that person talk for like any length of time.
25 years after the start of your study, that's a really long-term commitment. There's a reason why most studies, only happen over the course of a couple of years, but there are long-term studies that exist. The biggest longitudinal study on bottom surgery was a 50-year longitudinal study. This studied people for 50 years. Like, you can't get much better than that. I mean, if somebody
Studied people for 50, like, even the wording of what she's saying is weird. Like,
gets bottom surgery as an adult, be it like 18 plus, 50 years later, they're basically at the average lifespan of a human. This is about as long-term as you can get on the topic. We have 50-year longitudinal studies on bottom surgery.
studies? You've shown one. And how many people were in it?
There are long-term studies that exist.
I think I can see one of them that's, was it Boostos? Hang on, let me just check. There was a number in there that made me think, yeah, 27 studies, 7928 transgender patients. 27, 7, yeah, there we go. Even got fucking Boostos et al. In there. Nice. I'm a bit familiar with that one. It's a bit dicey, if I'm honest.
I've showed 3 right here, and that's not even to even mention all of these systematic literature reviews. This systematic literature review of 55 peer-reviewed studies, this systematic literature review of 38 peer-reviewed studies, this systematic literature review of 29 peer-reviewed studies. We have all of these broad collections of peer-reviewed studies which show the same overwhelming trend that, yeah, gender transition helps trans people.
Well, that's what you're telling us.
And there's nothing that they're lying to trans people about. It is
How can a study show that there's nothing they're lying about? What the fuck are you on about? How can it possibly... I'm sorry. That's like fucking knocked me for 6. What the fuck are you talking about? You can't show stuff like that in a study. That there's nothing that people have been lying... Like, fuck off. Jesus Christ.
factually true that you can change aspects of your biological sex. It is factually true.
Yeah, no one doesn't know what you said, so why have you gone to all this fucking... This is just cope. This is like trans cope. But dressed up as someone who fucking Adderalled the fuck up and is now ready to take on every trans debate bro in the fucking universe. Well done. Amazing. No one wanted this.
That you can change the gender role in which people perceive and treat you in and move through the world in a different lived social experience.
A different lived social experience. I mean, if that's true, then it's a trans social experience. It's not a female one.
Those are just facts, and facts do not care about Matt Walsh's feelings. The other thing that Matt says was that this was only been
Wow, that was the worst dunk of all time.
researched very recently. Research on trans people, at least research on like medical transition, originates to the Hirschfeld Institute in Weimar, Germany, like the 1930s. Now, a lot of this research
Yeah, they killed someone by trying to stick a womb in them. Is that them?
was burned by the Nazi Party. However, this research has existed for almost 100 years now. And, obviously, the fact that we have 50-year longitudinal studies, 25-year longitudinal studies, things like this, that shows that wide-scale trans research has been around for a lot longer than Matt Walsh is trying to claim. Yeah, he's just wrong on all of those points.
Have the data. They're pretending that they do. They're lying.
I just showed the data. I just showed data.
No, you didn't. You you didn't show any data. This is showing data. Like, I mean, actually, is it even? I don't know if I'm showing data. I guess I'd have to go deeper into this. Even I'm not really showing data. I'm just showing like the abstract of a fucking like, I don't know. Why was this necessary? Why did someone get it into their head that this is what trans people needed? Like, this is gross. What the fuck are you doing?
You're the one who's lying, Matt.
And that's what I hate.
Yeah, I hate it when you lie about the data on trans people. You should apply the standard equally, and you should hate the lies that you're telling right now, Matt.
That's that
Term studies on like trans term studies.
scale research. They're lying to you because it's not. There have never been any reliable long-term studies on
Any reliable. So here's how we'd squeeze out of that. Well, I didn't say there was any reliable ones. And is he right on that? Potentially. I don't know. See, the right like to play word games too, so hey.
25-year longitudinal studies, things like this. That shows. I just showed the data. I just showed data. You're
You know who she reminds me of? She really talks to someone. She really talks like someone, actually. Like, hang on. I need to wrap up shortly, but like, oh my god. She really reminds me of someone. I could be way off on this.
Here's your chance. My name's
Okay.
Really reminds me of this person when she talks like this, are these ending sentences like this? Like that kind of thing. Oh.
Kid, I ran into you.
Yeah, well, looks like your luck just ran out because I'm getting bored of you.
Do I have a better example?
Hey, how's it going?
Why is she at the same place? Like, why are you everywhere? See, come on. Play, what?
Good? That's the best you can do?
It's not the uppercut bid. 7? Wait, she couldn't do that. How old are you? Oh my god. I think you're pretty cool.
I am pretty cool, but aren't you gonna ask me for my number?
Okay, that's who Nominal Naomi reminds me of. I think that was her voice coach or something. I'm not sure.
the one who's lying, Matt.
And that's what I hate.
Yeah, I hate it when you lie about the data on trans people. You should apply the standard equally. And you should hate the lies that you're telling right now, Matt.
That's the immorality.
So we're clapping that we hate it when people lie right after Matt Walsh lied to this kid in front of an audience? That is very, very ironic. Hey, gamer, if you're enjoying the content, hit
Hey, gamer.
that subscribe button, leave a comment, smash the motherfucking like button, and tap that bell icon. Everything you do helps me and the channel so much more than you realize. Thanks so much.
I'm not going to do any of that, but I'll settle for making fun of your shit videos. How about that? So there we go. Like I said, even the massive dunk she thinks she got, he was saying reliable data. So there's wiggle room in what he said. So like calling him outright a liar is like, it's not even necessarily true. So like, yeah, I don't know. Kind of fucked that one up. From a study perspective, you can't include 5 years worth of data for a desister, so you've got to exclude them. Yeah. They get excluded from studies. And I'm not saying that they should be included. But the fact is that like the numbers given are very unreliable because they're only able to count people that formally desisted, I guess, through the clinic. And if they disappeared off, it could be for any reason. Which, yeah, you can't assume that all of them are detransitioners. Although sometimes you get these studies in countries where there really isn't many other places they can go, if anywhere, in terms of gender clinics. So what that means is that the regret rates and the detransition rates are just not very reliable at all, you know? I think she almost home-wrecked Tipster's marriage, did she? Fucking hell, Jesus. Yeah, sorry, Nick. The close-up is unfortunate, yeah, Jesus Christ. Especially that angle, like... Ouch. Ouch. Yeah, there we go, Nominal Naomi. Trans debate bro extraordinaire. I would like to humbly ask all people that we please let that shitty genre die. I have no interest in being a fucking debate bro. Like, if someone wants to fucking debate me, then I guess we can, but like, if not debating people means never turning into that, then honestly, I'm fine if I never fucking debate anyone again in my life, honestly. Jesus. Alice the Goon. What's Alice the Goon? Ah, okay. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I guess that makes sense. Looks like a witch. To me, they look like Michael Cera. I get Michael Cera vibes from that person. Everyone subscribe. Yes, that's a good suggestion. I think everyone should subscribe to the Marry True Live on YouTube. Are we almost there? We must be almost there by now. It's like hearing the teacher's favorite in high school with the addition of a huge dose of us. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.